Hello and welcome to another rosacea review. So if you haven't seen one of these videos before, I have rosacea, which means that my skin is very red and sensitive. So I spend a lot of time trying out makeup. Because I have rosacea, makeup needs to 1. Cover my redness, 2. Leave my skin feeling comfortable, and 3. Not look like I'm wearing a mask. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Maybelline Dream Velvet Foundation. I think this only came out a couple of months ago, but I might be wrong. So it's described as a soft matte hydrating foundation. I have super oily skin, so I always need things that are matte. It's described as a gel whipped foundation, which means that it's really light to apply, but it's also a medium high coverage foundation. So let's give it a go. So I'm going to apply the foundation to one half of my face, and then we can compare and see how well it covers my redness. It's quite moussey, so it's kind of similar in texture to the La Roche-Posay Everclar BB Blur. It's a bit more liquidy than that. That one's quite a kind of sturdy mousse. It's also quite similar to the Rimmel, I think it was Stay Matte. That was kind of in a similar bottle, and that was quite kind of moussey as well. Love this bit. So as you can see, the coverage is really good. The redness on my forehead in particular is quite kind of stark when you compare the two. I wouldn't say that this is super high coverage. When I look in the mirror, I can still see a little bit of redness on the tops of my cheekbones and on my cheeks. I can see it when I'm looking. Overall, I think that that's really great coverage, and also it's not super yellowy or orangey. When I first put it on my hand, it looked really dark, but I actually think that that's a pretty good match for me. So this is 10 Ivory. I have a feeling that they may not go that much lighter than this. I think that's a problem with a lot of high street foundation ranges. They don't go super light, and they definitely don't go very dark. So I'm gonna shuffle in a bit and show you. So this is my redness shown in kind of HD. This isn't a crazy flare up or anything. This is just what my skin looks like on a day-to-day basis. Haven't used anything that's aggravated my skin. My skin doesn't feel particularly warm or tight or sore. This is literally just what my face looks like on a day-to-day basis. It's kind of concentrated on my cheeks, cheekbones, nose, and just above my eyebrow. It's kind of normal skin here. It never really goes red on my chin, which is very strange, and also this little patch under my eye, it's the same on both sides, like those bits don't go red. It's quite a natural finish. I don't think that it's super heavy. You can still see the purple under my eyes, you can still see my mole and like my freckles and things. I can still see redness here, and I can still see redness here. I immediately see redness. I don't think anyone else would notice. It's a lot easier to work with than the La Roche-Posay BB Blur, which I love, but it is a weird texture when you're first putting it on because it's quite solid, and when you're first buffing it into your face it kind of feels weird. Whereas with this, it's quite moussey, and it looks like it may be hard to work with when you first put it on your hand, but it works in really easily. It doesn't take much buffing at all, and I don't think that it looks kind of claggy or cakey in any way. So that's my whole face covered. I would definitely go in and do extra coverage on my cheeks and cheekbones, just because I notice it so much when my redness shows through my foundation, but I don't think that anyone else would really notice. I don't think anyone would, you know, people that see me every day, I don't think they would look at me and think, oh, she's wearing a lighter coverage foundation than she usually does. I think this is good enough coverage for most people to not notice my rosacea, but for me, I would definitely go back in. I think on this side, you can see a bit better. When I look down, you can definitely see the red patches on my cheeks, and on this side you can definitely see on my cheekbones that there's a little bit of redness showing through. I'm just going to quickly go in and stipple a little bit on top just to really cover it. squeezed a lot more out onto my hand than I actually needed to. So bear that in mind, because I think that less is more with this foundation. I don't think you need as much as you think you do. So start off with a tiny amount on your hand and then just keep adding, basically. I'm going to try this out and see how it goes for the rest of the day. I don't have high hopes for it lasting without primer, just because my skin is really, really oily, and this doesn't have the super powdery matte finish that a lot of foundations do that tend to last on me. But I'll give it a go. I'll see how I feel about it. I'm going to be honest, I didn't have high hopes for this foundation when I first bought it. I bought it kind of as an experiment because I wanted to see how matte and high coverage a high street foundation could be. It isn't the most high coverage foundation I've tried from the high street. I think that belongs to the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Matte. But I think if you're a fan of moussey textures rather than a liquid foundation, and I think if you prefer this kind of soft matte finish rather than the super matte finish that the Infallible Matte from L'Oreal Paris has, then I think this is a really, really good option for you. It's really, really easy to apply. It buffs into the skin really easily. I don't tend to apply foundation with my fingers because it makes my skin warm and can trigger a flare-up. I think this would actually apply really, really nicely with your fingers. It kind of has that silicone-y, like silky feel when you apply it, which I quite like, but I know that some people are not a fan, so just bear that in mind. Another thing that I was quite concerned about when I saw that this was kind of a moussey texture is that I always associate that kind of texture with very drying foundations. So I think back in the day when you used to get those kind of moussey foundation types, I used to find that they would really dry my skin out. Even though I've got super oily skin, they would still make my skin feel dry, so I dread to think what they would do for someone with dry skin. This is designed to be hydrating, and I found that it really is comfortable to wear all day. If you're looking for something with super high coverage, then this probably isn't the foundation for you, although this can be built up really easily and naturally. But I think this is great if you're looking for something that's reasonably high coverage but still looks natural and doesn't look really cakey. It applies really easily. It has a soft matte finish, so I would apply powder after this because I'm super oily. But if you like that kind of natural, still kind of got a little bit of a glow on the skin kind of look, then I think that you'd really like this. Obviously, because it's from Maybelline, it's available on the high street, which means that it's easily accessible for everybody, and I also think this is really well priced. And that's another rosacea review. As always, if you have any makeup that you would like me to try out, anything that you think is absolutely amazing, or something that you've had your eye on, or something that you would really recommend personally, then let me know in the comments below and I'll take a look. I'll put all my links below so you can find my blog and my social media channels. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye. Itchy armpit. Oh, why are my armpits so itchy? Oh, I need a wee. Blah, 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 blah. Something in my eye. What's happening? Still something in my eye. That was all rubbish. It's a really greedy, What are you talking about? That was awful. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is proving to be a lot too difficult. A lot too difficult. Grammar. Textured foundations before. Why am I always itching? Stop itching yourself. I've lost my tiny mind.